Hello everyone. What happened last night in the US market? Why it crashed? Second, what Trump said about India trade negotiations and his India visit? And third, why PSU banks might be on focus today. All this we are going to discuss in our regular pre-market report video for today, 7th November 2025 for the Indian stock market in terms of Nifty and Bank Nifty. First, about what happened last night in the US market, why they had a hard day. There is a private firm in US called Challenger Gray and Christmas. This is the first time I'm hearing this name. Apparently, it appears they have been releasing the economic front macro. Every month, they provide the information on the number of announced corporate layoffs in US. And this report in US is an indicator used by investors to determine the strength of the US labor market and so on. Now coming to the data, in the October month, US had the layoff of 1,54,000. In comparison, in September month, it was only 54,000. So 3 times month over month increase, which itself is very negative. From that data, another research firm called Scotiabank Economics released the statement that so far this year, year to date in US companies had laid off about 1.1 million jobs, which is really very alarming. And this is the highest in the last 22 years, which exceeds the economic crisis of 2008 recession as well as the pandemic. Think for a second, more laid off than 2008 recession as well as the pandemic. It looks like Trump literally spoiled up the US economy. Anyway, last night all this negativity, which in turn made the US market to crash. Particularly tech stocks, Nvidia, Dell, Tesla, Qualcomm, Facebook all down near 2 to 6%. Index-wise, Dow Jones was down 0.84%, S&P 500 decreased 1.12%, and Nasdaq crashed near 2%. In case of VIX, it increased 8% and moved to 19.5 from 18 on Wednesday night. Then about oil, it didn't change much, roughly same as yesterday. At the time of this video, WTI crude trading at 59.5 US dollars per barrel, whereas Brent crude trading at 63.5 US dollars per barrel. Regarding Indian ADR, as it is, all stocks closed negative. If we calculate the arbitrage, ICICI Bank ADR alone showing positive 0.5% arbitrage difference and HDFC Bank ADR showing flat difference. Whereas Infosys and Wipro ADRs both showing negative 1% arbitrage difference. So banking stocks indicating flat to positive arbitrage, but IT stocks showing further negative difference. In line with that, GIFT Nifty early morning today, it traded at 25,520. Equating that with the spot market, for now it's indicating 100 points gap down opening. So those were the things happened in the dollar market. Now moving to Indian market related info. First, about Russian oil discount. Because of India and China stopped buying the oil from Russia, the Russian oil discount increased from 2 US dollar to 4 US dollar per barrel. Here, I don't know whether India will resume the purchase or not, and also don't know whether this is positive or not. If the discount is higher at 4 US dollar, then it might be tempting for Indian oil marketing companies to resume the purchases. But then there is the whole US sanctions issues, so we need to wait and see. Then second, in White House, there were reporters who asked Trump about Modi and India tariff. Here is the snip of that video. Please have a look.
How is the talks with Prime Minister Modi going on the trade deal, and when do you...
Going good. He stopped buying oil from Russia.
When do you plan?
And he's a friend of mine, and we speak, and when he wants me to go there, we'll figure that out. I'll go. I had a great trip there with Prime Minister Modi. He's a great man. And I'll be going.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle.
You're planning to go to India next year?
No.
You're planning to go to India next year, sir?
It could be, yeah.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle of a $10 billion.
Basically, he said trade negotiations is going smooth and he is going to come to India next year kind of. Here he said next year, but by chance if he says next week or next month, then that will be surely positive from the market point of view. But still, this next year statement also, there is a potential chance market might take this as positive as well. Then third, again, I don't know the impact. yesterday in the 12th SBI Banking and Economics Conclave, our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said she is in discussions with RBI to merge the public sector banks into a big large banks. So we could say PSU banks will be on focus today. Now, some might ask, is this bank merger positive or negative? I mean, historically, bank mergers have been mixed. The idea is to create stronger, more efficient banks with better capital ratios. However, the execution has been challenging with integration issues, cultural differences, and operational problems. So, if the merger is done well, it's positive, but if not, it could create more problems. Either way, PSU banks will be on focus today on this news. Then, fourth, in terms of stock specific news, as per CNBC TV 18, today, Airtel's one of the parent, Singtel, may sell a 0.8% stake in Bharti Airtel with a block size of 10,300 crore rupees and a floor price of 2,030 rupees per share. So, Airtel will be on focus due to this block deal. As a summary, US market crashed last night and in line with that, GIFT Nifty indicating 100 points gap down opening. However, on the positive side, Trump said India trade negotiations are going smooth and he will visit India next year. This could provide some sentiment support. Overall, global sentiment is very negative due to US layoff data. Domestically, Trump's India visit comment and PSU Bank merger news are mild positives. Moving on about institution, in the cash market for the sixth day in a row, FI was net sellers. The net sold for 3,250 crore rupees, whereas DA net bought for massive 5,250 crore rupees. Then on the derivative market, participant-wise open interest analysis, yesterday index future open interest increased around 1%, whereas on the index options, 48% new call option open interest and 26% new put option open interest were added. Because of more call option open interest addition than put option open interest, so the PCI ratio came down to 0.78 from 0.92. Then stance wise in the index options, client holding net 12.5% open interest favoring the bullish position, whereas FIA and property traders having net 6.5% and 5.2% of their open interest respectively favoring the bearish position. In the future index case, client having 68% of their open interest on the long side. On the other hand, FIA having massive 86% of their open interest on the short side, and property traders reduced their short position to 51%, which is closer to neutral. Then, as per stock open interest, KNS Technology, Blue Star, Hindalco, Union Bank of India, Mankind Pharma, NCC, and Voltas are some of the 101 stocks that got an increase in open interest along with a negative close, indicating the short build-up. On the other hand, Divi's Lab, Dauber, Britannia, RBL Bank, Hero MotoCorp, and Paytm are some of the 18 stocks that got an increase in open interest with a positive price close, which means these stocks got the long build-up. About the things to look out, earnings-wise, Bajaj Auto, Hindalco, Divi's Lab, Trent, Torrent Pharma, Kalyan Jewellers, Petronet LNG, Nalco, Gujarat Gas, and AstraZeneca are the companies scheduled to release their results. So, auto, metals, pharma, and retail sectors will be on focus. Macro-wise, early morning Chinese trade data is due, and after our market close in the evening, India's foreign exchange reserves data for the week ending October 24th is scheduled to release. In addition, in the night, Michigan consumer inflation data are the important things we need to keep an eye out today. Coming to technical, Nifty opened lower but immediately climbed above 25,600. However, it could not sustain and remained under pressure for rest of the session. Then it finally closed below 25,600. Thus, on the daily chart, Nifty formed a bearish candle with an upper shadow, indicating selling pressure at higher level. In addition, it continued its lower high, lower low formation for the fifth consecutive session, falling below both 20-day exponential average and the midline of the Bollinger Band. Furthermore, RSI dropped to 50 while MACD maintained its bearish crossover, both indicating persistent weakness in the short term and potential for further downside movement. Hence, going forward, we can expect Nifty to decline further towards 25,450. A decisive break below this level could open the door for a fall to 25,350 to 25,300. However, on the higher side, resistance is at 25,700 to 25,800 zone. In case of Bank Nifty, similar to Nifty, it also opened more than 100 points gap down and immediately rebounded, however, dropped for rest of the session and closed below 57,600. Thus, on the daily chart, Bank Nifty also formed a similar pattern like Nifty and broke the consolidation range on the downside, indicating the possibility of increased selling pressure ahead. However, it held above its 20-day exponential average, which coincides with 23.6% Fibonacci retracement of the recent sharp rally at the middle of the Bollinger Band. RSI dropped to 56, while MACD sustained its negative crossover, both indicating potential short-term weakness. Hence, going ahead, the 20-day exponential average zone could act as the immediate support, and any sustained move below 57,400 to 57,300 might likely lead to further correction up to 56,800 level. On the upside, 57,900 to 58,000 zone could act as the crucial hurdle. Regarding the options front, the maximum call option open was at 26,000 strike, followed by 25,700 and 25,800, with maximum new call option rating at 25,600, 25,700 and 25,800 strike. On the other hand, the maximum put option open was at 25,000 strike, followed by 25,200 and 25,500, with maximum new put option rating at 25,500, 25,400 and 25,000 strike. Thus, from options data, it's indicated that Nifty may trade in the 25,000 to 26,000 range in the short term. So that's all in this video. Hope you got some useful information. Please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video so that it will help me beat the YouTube algorithm and also motivate me to do more. Please don't make any investment based on this, as I'm not a SEBI research advisor. I'm doing this for me and viewers' educational purpose only. Thanks for watching.